Okay, Aziz?
Could I speak candidly?
Yeah.
I think that we are a propaganda outlet for an intelligence operation that's being done by them.
Yeah.
Right.
I think without a shadow of a doubt that there is not a single thing that is good anything about anything. I think the only that makes zero sense in nature. Oh, I'm the good gazelle. I'm the good lion. I just eat for healthy reasons. It makes no sense. It just isn't a thing in any animal species ever. And if you increase the intelligence of the animal, what suddenly good and evil apply? This makes zero sense. There is a power struggle between competing political groups. Those competing political groups exist in a macro level environment that is intergalactic. And Earth is a contested territory that is having a shift of management underneath the umbrella of probably another galactic empire that is just de facto controlling this entire place. Well,
So we're a psyops.
we're a psyop.
Oh, I believe
I
it.
100%
Hardcore.
think we're a
Yeah.
psyop. Like, I think the entire New Age movement and anybody who talks about the Galactic Federation, anybody who talks about any pretty ETs coming to save us, any narrative like that is a psyop, and it's being done probably by one of our American intelligence agencies, and one of the American intelligence agencies that has a back end that's connected to space.
You are about to see a video of a meeting between the remote viewers who work at Farsight and two extraterrestrials. The extraterrestrials are from a group of extraterrestrials who have worked and have supported Farsight for many years. At their insistence, these meetings are now being recorded live on video and published on social media. There is currently a Cold War, soon to turn into a hot war, between two extraterrestrial groupings who have been interacting with Earth humans for a very long time. One group works secretly with the U.S. government and some other governments, and it supports the U.S. secret space program that utilizes reverse-engineered ET tech taken from crashed UFOs. Much of this has been reported in the U.S. congressional hearings under the UAP crash retrieval label. That ET group is authoritarian, to put it mildly, and essentially runs this planet as an extremely sophisticated psychological prison that supplies a huge human trafficking operation. The group of extraterrestrials who we work with at Farsight are very different, and they are opposed to that group. Our side are absolutists in supporting the concept of free will. Their goal is to free this planet and its population, not militarize it with advanced ET weaponry. For many governments, the lure of ET military tech is just too tempting, and they are willing to compromise principles in order to get that tech, no matter what the cost. But that path leads to slavery for all of humanity, and it turns human militaries into mercenary forces supporting a fascist cause. More than anything else, those governments don't want you to know about the extraterrestrials or what they have been doing with them. Our side simply wants the end of secrecy, so that humanity can make a free will choice of what side it wants to support. If you like what you see in this video, and you truly want to see the end of the secrecy that binds you and all of this world, then you need to see the full library of remote viewing projects that we have completed at Farsight. To do this, please consider subscribing to our streaming service, farsightprime.com. We have no advertisements or product placements on farsightprime.com, and our subscribers are the only way we have to continue bringing you the information that we think you need, that all of humanity needs right now. Ending the secrecy is literally saving the planet, and as a subscriber to farsightprime.com, that is exactly what you are helping to do. We ask that you watch all of our projects with an open mind. Without further ado, here is the November 2024 ET Board meeting at Farsight.
All right. I want to thank everyone for being here in this ET Board meeting, and I want to thank our two guests for showing up and leading the discussion. And we're doing this in the middle of November 2024. This is after the U.S. presidential election. and we're fascinated to hear what you have to say. So without further ado, I guess if it's all right, I'll start out with interpreting what they're saying.
Just to start off, I do feel like this one is a man and this one is a lady.
Yeah, I do feel there's a gender difference.
Mm.
I do feel there's a gender difference. Yeah. Yeah. And they seem to want to be talking. They want us just to start. Okay, are we ready? Okay, this is sort of I'm picking up sort of a intensity. Like, okay. All right, so they want me to calm down. They want to thank everybody for being here. This is very important. It's great that everyone's listening. They want to thank all of the Earth audience for tuning in and listening to what they have to say. It's a privilege for them to be able to come here and speak to everybody. They have been locked out of the ability to talk to people, for Earth people, for centuries, thousands of years, and they just want to say that they don't undervalue in any way, shape, or form these communications that are actually happening. And they're precious because they're alive and they're transmitted and understood, not through like channeling, but this is an actual real conversation of the type that should be happening all over the planet with people. Because this brings in this new, this brings in this new, this shift, this change. Humanity is, can I use vernacular? The humanity is all screwed up. Nothing is correct in humanity. And so none of the information that you've been getting from all sorts of sources, especially anything controlled by normal humans, is correct. Everything's been manipulated. And they have to be able to break through this. But there has to be a gradual aspect to this. It just can't be suddenly. It can't be that in some 6 months or something like that, suddenly what Courtney calls the good ETs are just simply going to show up. There has to be some graduality, and they're really ticked off at the bad ETs, how they've been holding off contact and keeping humanity sort of in bated breath, waiting for open contact to happen, and this has to stop. And so what they want to say is that this is the beginning of the so-called human troubles, but it cannot happen and have the desired effect unless what Courtney calls the good ETs, us, actually do something during this time period. So what's going to happen is there's a change, and they want all of humanity to be aware of this change. What the group that Courtney calls the good ETs, us, we're going to start. He just wants me to keep. We're going to be We're going to be showing up all over the place. Courtney has already showed you. Farsight has already showed you how to take pictures, video recordings of UFOs, but those are UFOs that are being cloaked. Those are the bad ETs. What we're going to start doing is we're going to start showing up. There are going to be sightings, lots of sightings, but these are not going to be sightings that you need special cameras for. These are going to be visible sightings. These are going to be things where you can see, and they're us. They're not them. Them, they're cloaking. The bad ETs want to hide themselves. They use the cloaking because they don't want you to know about them right now. They want to kick the can down the road, delay it. But we can't have these human troubles happening without an understanding that the extraterrestrials are involved at the same time. And it can't be sudden. It can't be just like a switch 6 months down the line. So what we want from everyone on this planet is to start going outside and looking up. You have to start taking the social media that you have access to right now is not going to be free for very long if you don't do this. Social media is part of the things that the bad ETs and the powers that be are trying to control as fast as possible. It's a tug of war, and it's a losing war unless we do this. You have to, now is the time, and the only time to stop that crush down on social media. We want you to go outside with your normal cameras. Don't worry about infrared. Don't worry about cloaking devices. Don't worry about speeds over 20,000 miles an hour. Go outside and start recording these videos. They're of us, and we want you to see us at this time. We can defend ourselves, and we will defend ourselves against the American Secret Space Program, against what Courtney calls the bad ETs. No one's going to stop it. We want the sightings to start to be happening. Stop taking the advice of authorities. Stop taking the advice of astronomers. Stop taking the advice of academics. Stop taking the advice of the government saying that they want proof that these things. Just go out and take the damn pictures. We're going to be out there. We're not doing this. We're not doing this because we're out on a Sunday stroll. We're trying to just have a good time, to having a picnic. We're trying to make you see us, and you have to see us, and you have to start sharing these photographs and these video recordings in as high a quality as you can make them. And Courtney actually wants me. Courtney has suggestions with the stuff they're using at Farsight with regard to video editing program. There's things that Farsight's using for it's totally free, something called Shotcut. There's other video editing program. Aziz, what's the other one?
LumaFusion.
LumaFusion. There's different editing programs that are free. We want you to start taking your cameras, even the cell phone cameras, and going outside. We're making sure that you can video record us. We're not trying to be catty about this. This is the time. We want to be showing up all over the place at the time that the human troubles are actually happening. Go outside, damn it. Go outside with your cameras and start taking photographs. Don't worry about any type of special thing. We're out there. We're trying to get you to see us. Okay. Yeah, May? They want you to do something.
When you see us, do not be afraid. A lot of you are out here ready for what you think you're ready for, and then you run away from it when it approaches you. You cannot have fear during this time. We are at war. You cannot be in war and be afraid. In order for these things to come, can you slow down, please? In order for these things to configure appropriately, you must be ready. When he is saying go outside, go with a purpose. Go with tenacity. These things will try to get covered. If you post, they will get taken down. Keep a record that is not digital, because it can be erased. Technology is being controlled by the bad guys. We can do nothing about that. We can continue to do what we're doing now, because they're going to do what they're going to do. So make sure that you are getting physical copies of what you have. Be aware and be prepared for them to try and take away what you've seen within yourself. You must hold on to all pieces of you. You must hold on to all of your knowledge. If you feel like you're missing something, go and research, go and find, go and document everything, not just us, not just the ETs, not just what the government is doing. Document everything that you are doing, whether it's in a journal or pen paper, whatever it is that you have, to be able to timestamp what you're doing within your life. That is why they're trying to control social media. That's why they're trying to take it away from you, because they know that we are using this to document in real time. That's how they find missing people. Where were they last seen? What was I last doing? Why can't I remember what just happened yesterday? Something is happening. So if you have pure documentation of what you are doing, when you're doing it, especially if you are coming in contact with us, they are going to try to destroy that evidence. Do not allow it to happen. Shantae.
So to take a message from the good ETs, they're actually a bit distraught or disappointed in what it's just a concentration of just just too much focus on individualism. This is, if you look at, let's say, the bad ETs or just any negative force, it's never just an individual. There's multiple factors, things working together. So to take a message from the good ETs, this is a time to ask for help and offer the help that you can to those around you. And even if it could be a favor, ask someone for a favor, offer a favor. This is not a time to just be alone. If you continue to say you're too busy for communication, too busy for even just social interaction, too busy to contribute to some sort of community, then yes, you have to change that mindset. No, none of the good ETs are acting just as individuals. So that's something they would like for you to begin to implement for yourself. Yeah.
Interesting. So act as a group, not as individuals, but act individually, but also with awareness of the group.
We'll say even with like focus on, as we start to see more of like whatever recordings people get as they start to go outside and experiment with all sorts of cameras and locations. It's not just about what you found. Show interest in what other people are finding.
Support
Comment
one
on
another.
it, question it even. But it's not just look at the total importance of this increase in information we're trying to put out.
Even a digital community is better than no community.
That was way too soft.
Even a digital community is better than no community. So, I got 4 telepathic images from them, and I'm supposed to just say describe the images without interpretation. The first image, and I think they deal with a sequential order of events, but the first image looked like an armored human subject, just sort of with bulky attire, headgear, stuff like that, very dark hues attire. And that subject was in sort of a physical confrontation with another subject, and that other subject seemed a bit more civilian looking in terms of their attire, just didn't really seem like a uniform. And then the second image that followed after that was an image of an ocean or an extensive body of water, an extensive blue, and these very gray hues, very large structures on water. They look like big boats, big armored boats, but that was the second image. The third image was curved non-surface structures that seemed very different from airplanes. And the fourth image were a collection of very different, slightly differently dressed, but much longer attire, but very much civilian-looking, human-looking subjects, and they seemed to have a bit of a glow to them. They seemed to feel like they were bright in just sort of the energetic sense of it. And that was the sequence of images that appeared telepathically from these individuals over here, and that's something I was supposed to convey.
So if you can summarize the 4 images with just one sentence each, what would that be?
So the first image would just be an image of an armored, dark hues armored subject in a physical confrontation with a modern attire, soft attired, human-looking subject, both of them human-looking subjects. The second image is an image of an extensive body of water with armored structures on the water. The third image is an image of curved non-surface structures that are hovering in the sky, multiples of them. The fourth image is an image of multiple subjects that seem to have long attire and a bit of a glow about them, but they all look human. That was basically the four images.
Okay, so what is your sense that these are images of things that are happening now or to come, or with what?
I feel like it's an order of events. I feel like we're probably in the stage of the first image being very close on the horizon, and the second image,
Which was the armored subject?
yeah, the armored subject. And I don't know the context of that. I'm not saying that that's like a rioting, policing, or something like that. That could easily just be.
It is what it is. And
It's
then
an-
the second image.
It's an image, yeah. The second image was just an extensive body of water with large armored structures on the water, like big battleships or
Okay.
big boats. And so the third image just being something that looked like not airplane, but non-surface structures in the sky. So then the fourth image just being subjects that look like regular human subjects, but they didn't dress like in our normal fashion, not like
Okay.
how we're dressed today, right, or anything like
Okay.
that. So, yeah.
Inti-san?
When you were talking about cloaking, the image I was getting, it came to me like a thought ball, which I think is how they're delivering this telepathic messages. And I was seeing an official type of a room with what looked like leaders of some sort, but I was getting a sense of, you said good ETs don't cloak themselves, but bad ETs cloak themselves. And I was getting a sense of these cloaked subjects, and it kind of looks like they're all leaders of some sort, and that they're cloaking themselves and operating in a cloaked manner, not differently from how I guess they used to operate, which was uncloaked, kind of like if we're looking at the Ra project and Zeus and probably like Odin, some gods, how they used to operate in an open manner, but now they have to cloak themselves to see their I don't know, their wishes, their agendas playing out. Yeah, and I was also getting a sense of it's questioning authority, how we've been trained from a long time. Our whole societal structure, starting with school and, sitting in rows and listening to this figure of authority, and how you're not really supposed to question it. And that's kind of how we've been indoctrinated to up to this point. You can't question authority. And if you question authority, like what we've seen in recent years, you risk censorship. You risk being thrown out of society, or your social media or whatever blocked, or you're painted as a mad person, and that's how the bad ETs have wanted us to operate, is you never question authority, but we're getting to a point where we have to start questioning authority, and you can kind of see the authority that serves themselves, that kind of pushes out this agenda, versus the authority that doesn't. We have politicians who, once they're sworn in, is that the right word? Once they're elected, it's self-serving all the way. You never step foot in your own hometown, or we have to practice discernment, is the image I'm getting from especially the one sitting over there, the male ET.
Mm-hmm.
Practicing discernment within our authority figures and not being afraid to question.
Okay, now you were saying that this is the stuff that you were picking up. So make it live. What are they telling you now, this second? Just interpret.
That we have bad ETs that are amongst us in terms of leaders. We have literal ETs that are cloaking themselves as human leaders. And for them, it's a play of sorts. They enjoy this kind of game of showing up as a human and pretending, I have a family and these are my values, but they're not human, and it's easy for us to look at them and be like, look at this guy, looks totally human. They're not. And I'm seeing that there's quite a few of them. In this thought ball that I'm receiving, it looks like an official type of building, and I don't know, like a third of them look like they're cloaked.
So when you're saying cloaked, it doesn't mean invisible. It means that they made themselves look differently.
Yeah.
Do you mind?
Of course.
I can hear what she's hearing, or I see what she's seeing, and I think these are just for lack of better terminology, in this particular space, her word of cloaked is more of a shapeshift.
Yeah.
More of shape shifting. And yes, that message that she received is that, yes, a third of, did you say politician?
Leaders of any sort.
The third of leaders. A third of the leaders that we should be skeptical about are not themselves. They are infiltrated. That's the word you were looking for.
They're infiltrated, but some of them are not even human.
They're not human at all. They have placed on a form that is acceptable to society so that they can be seen and heard, and they've never been human, yet we have known them as such as long as they have been known. Did I wrap that up? Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, and I kept seeing a human being. I saw this a few times, but I wasn't certain of what the image was until I focused more in it, because I feel more than I see. And there was a human being here, and I saw 7 non-surface structures. I saw 7 ships of some sort kind of surrounding this being. These ships reminded me of the ones that we saw at the beach. I seen within the shapes of a trapezoidal shape, disc-like shape, and spherical, circular shape that spins. And they're here with this person. I don't know if this person, 1 second, they're letting me know. This person is in the I like the thought bubble that she said. It makes sense. This person in the thought bubble represents the people. It represents us. It represents you. And those ships represent openness and protection. They are saying, we're here. We are here with you. We have not forsaken you. We have not left you. We are not hiding from you because we want to. It's just now is finally the time. The time was not before. We've made ourselves known to people who could see us in their eyes without us having to have our figures out in the open for the safety in the space of the Cold War. But now this war is hot. And now it is time for us to show ourselves. In this visual, that person, that light being, it's all of us. And we must do our part. And I see it very hard when Dr. Brown was saying that we need to go outside. The water images, when he said that, I immediately saw forested areas. I saw areas of greenery with lots of foliage. I heard water, lots of water. And as soon as Aziz said that he sees this big body of water, these are the places you need to go. These are the places where they will be in the masses, but you can also go right outside and look up from your mailbox, from your front porch if it's not covered, from your parking lot at your job, day or night, rain or shine, they will be there. And they want you. They want us to find them, to locate them. They want the connection. And I'm hearing connect with your star origin. And those of you that may not know that, know what it is, they're going to tell you. Listen to your dreams. If you've been having vivid dreams, pay attention to them. Keep a dream journal. Collect your dreams. I'm hearing something about a jar, but this could be just a mistranslation. Collect your dreams. I don't know what that means, but I'm saying it. So if you are that person, you know what it means. And listen to them. They're not just a dream. They are the ETs trying to connect with you. Listen and believe what you see.
I have a sense that Kamaya they have sensed something that Kamaya has to say, but she can't be forced to say it. Okay, Aziz?
Could I speak candidly?
Yeah.
I think that we are a propaganda outlet for an intelligence operation that's being done by them.
Yeah.
Right.
I think without a shadow of a doubt that there is not a single thing that is good anything about anything. I think that makes zero sense in nature. I'm the good gazelle. I'm the good lion. I just eat for healthy reasons. It makes no sense. It just isn't a thing in any animal species ever. And if you increase the intelligence of the animal, suddenly good and evil apply. This makes zero sense. There is a power struggle between competing political groups. Those competing political groups exist in a macro level environment that is intergalactic. And Earth is a contested territory that is having a shift of management underneath the umbrella of probably another galactic empire that is just de facto controlling this entire place. And we see all those snout-faced extraterrestrials, and we don't see that they're going away. We just see that there's like a shift that's a very real shift in terms of the management of this planet on the surface. And if there's going to be a situation where there's let's take the 4 images that I just said, and then I just gave this loose description of these 4 images. Well, let me just sort of explain it. So you got these 4 images, and the first image, let's just go really deep into interpretation of it. Let's just say that is like big armored police person doing some arrests or just attacking some sort of civilian dressed person. That might not be a riot or anything like that. We've seen a lot of riots already, but it could be something along the lines of stuff that we've already been seeing with like the P. Diddy getting arrested, Jeffrey Epstein getting arrested. Maybe it's just intense militarized policing of people that need to get policed. And also, after that, the big warships over the ocean, maybe that just is denoting the general idea of overseas large-scale conflict. And then after that, you have extraterrestrials coming. Every person in this ET community has been talking about, oh, the extraterrestrials, they'll be here eventually. Well, then they absolutely need, from a logical perspective, they absolutely need to have a thorough amount of psyops that are out here on the base surface between humans, which I think we're just one of them.
Yes.
And we're just, all these psyops that are there are designed to do one thing. It's to make it so that when the alien forces or when the new management comes out in force and shows up and says, hey, we're kind of just running you humans. You guys, the humans, have to be able to be accepting of that. And if they come out and they say, we're the Galactic Federation, and then everyone looks at all this Google articles about the Galactic Federation being like these happy, the Galactic Federation, they're going to save us, they're so pretty. And then these pretty people come out on spaceships and they say, we're the Galactic Federation. It's like, I saw the article, I went to a New Age conference about you guys. It's a psyop. It's like, this is just military groups from the regular secret space program. We're talking about them like they're like, these are the bad ones and these are the good ones. Like, no, I think there's just military, and the military is just there's space military. And when space military comes to play on Earth in front of everybody, they want to make sure
we are prepared.
They want to make sure that the common public looks at them and says, "Wow, you're so cool." And that's our whole thing. Like I'm listening, like this is a real telepathic thing that we're having, and I just am like hearing all this stuff, and I'm just thinking to myself, that is the only thing that makes sense. It's not just like a personal feeling. It's just like the only thing that makes sense. It's the only thing that makes sense to nature. It's the only thing that makes sense as above, so below to any geopolitical conflict. And if you look at anything that's happened in history since like ancient Egyptian times, it's like there has never been a situation where one country looks at another country and says, they're the bad guys, I'm the good guys, and we gotta duke it out and save those people and bring them democracy. That never happens. That has never been a thing ever. Period. It has always been they have something that I want, or they're developing something that could be a threat. It's always survival, jungle. I gotta be the king, and if I'm not the king, somebody else is going to be the king over me, so I have to expand, period. So I just want to make sure I say that, because if anyone's watching this, if you think that there is anyone who's here to save you, you're dumb. Like, absolutely dumb. Like, expand your sense of understanding that the world is a jungle and civilization is a lie. And it's meant to pacify you, to make you think that, I don't have to get psychic abilities because they're going to save me. I don't have to pull myself away from the comforts that are designed, by design, with artificial intelligence working every single day to make sure that you give all of your effort to production, to making the machine, to having babies so that the machine can continue to thrive. And then, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying that everything about the machine is bad. I'm just saying civilization is an exploitative process because nature consumes itself. You're not helping the world by saying like, I'm a vegan. If you die next to a tree, the tree's going to eat you. That's what's going to happen. Nature consumes itself, and underneath that foundation, there's room for all sorts of good things. Love, charitability, happiness. Like, I'm not saying there's no such thing as good people and love and sunshine and rainbows. All of that stuff exists, but it exists on top of the foundation that is built through predation. It is built through force. And and I think we're on track for a very beautiful Earth. I think I really want to emphasize that. I think we're on track for an incredibly positive civilization as these events continue to unfold. But don't be dumb. Like, don't think to yourself that there's this idea of just like the good guys always win because that's what happens in movies.
Mm-hmm.
And because if you look at what's in 99.999% of all extraterrestrial topics on the internet, period, that's the narrative. It's Star Wars. It's something that looks and sounds super cool, and the good guys are gonna win. Don't worry, we beat those scaly bastards. No, that's not the case. That's not the case. And honestly, and it's kind of racist too. It's speciesist to just sort of speciesist. I'm sure there's plenty of scaly people that are just incredibly decent, and we would love to have dinner with them.
Yes.
If we could eat the same things.
Yes,
So
as long as they don't eat us.
as long as they don't eat us. Okay.
Don't eat
So
us.
anyway, so I'm gonna stop
Be
talking
our
right now. But I just
No,
Oh,
that was
sorry.
beautiful.
I definitely agree with everything you just said. It's
Okay.
like this. Every time we have these meetings, I have an underlying feeling that I'm just like, but there's just something else that I just like, it feel weird, you know? So that's why I don't say anything, because most of the time I don't want to say things that make you want to question it, but I still be
But
like,
that's your job,
but I
Kamaya.
don't
That's
get
why
it.
you're here.
I don't get it. I don't want to be the only one, or, you know, like, just like that intrusive thought that you just had. Like, I've been thinking that for years. For years. That's really why I took my little break. I needed a little space.
Yeah.
But for years, I've just been like, I just don't know. I'm here, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with it. But I like everything you just said.
Nailed
Okay,
it. And this guy is actually very proud of what you just said.
Oh, I
like,
appreciate
He
it.
was smiling. He was
Yes,
chatting. He was laughing.
like
They were laughing.
he-
They were laughing the whole time.
We were having a moment here. Like he is like, he said it. Like he was. And I jumped out of my skin. I think I lost a piece of my soul or something when all that happened. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
I do want to say something to the general audience. When Aziz was growing up and he was getting out of high school, he really looked at me seriously and said, "Dad, I don't see the reason to go to college. It's just a scam." And then I said, "Trust me, I'm a professor, college professor. You'll see the value later." What you just heard was the result of a master's degree in international relations from a prestigious university. So anyone who's wondering about is education worthwhile, what you just heard came from a master's in international relations. And I mean, education really helps, but you can see his own personality, his own ability to translate, his own, that came through. So everything you learn in life is, wow, I'm proud of you, son.
Okay, thanks. I will actually recommend, just to anybody watching, this isn't a telepathic thing right now, but I would recommend if you just look into the type of corruption that you would find in any sort of political fiasco, and I wouldn't recommend only attaching yourself to political events right now. There's plenty of free academic journals that you can look at on the internet, and if you just pick like Kosovo or just something from the 90s, something from the 80s, just looking at any mainstream depiction of any political conflict, and then looking at like there's so many anthropologists and political scientists who are like, especially the anthropologists, they're like real heroes. A lot of them will write these academic journals where they will go on the ground in these political conflicts, and then they will give a completely different array of events compared to what the mainstream is, because the mainstream is like the Star Wars thing. They'll tell you, we're the good guys and they're the bad guys. But the anthropologists, they'll be on the ground and they'll just say raw details of this is what's happening, and it makes you realize it's like the good guy, bad guy narrative doesn't exist. It never existed in any geopolitical conflict. And the last thing I'll say about it is the reason why that's important is because there's an as above, so below experience with space. The only difference between the corruption and the brutality that you will see in Earth-based human conflict is that the space-based ones have better technology. That's the only difference. The minds are the same. Their intellects may be more advanced, what does that result into? Well, greater levels of sophistication in the art of warfare. But that doesn't really change the social problems. The social problems that exist on this planet exist in space, and that is a one-to-one comparison. So you can learn a lot about space by just researching into geopolitical events through academic journals or just anything and you have ChatGPT, you can make it easy. Just copy and paste the PDF, just throw it into ChatGPT, tell it to summarize, give me the cliff notes. And, you can do a lot of things now that, I wasn't able to do before when I was taking the degree, but still, I highly recommend that for our viewers to just, as above, so below, research current politics.
It's also difficult to get information from movies, because all movies that are produced in Hollywood are vetted by the CIA. Man, there's an official person that literally looks at the scripts and approves all the scripts, so that all the information comes out with sort of an appropriate storyline. And I've talked about that before. We used to report on the actual person who did that job for like 20 years in the past, but he's not doing it anymore, but he came out and discussed everything he did. But so you can't always, think that you're going to get the good stuff from the movies. You have to be able to think independently. Okay, so let me just say, they're happy with how the meeting has gone. They're very happy with it. And Kamaya, they want you to be more
Vocal.
but more objectionable. Meaning, when you have these doubts and things like that, don't be quiet, but raise hell.
I don't want to be a bad guy.
They want you to be a bad guy because you're the one that helps make us real.
But it's not a bad guy, and this is from me and from them. Like it's not about being bad. It's about being who you are. It's about saying what you hear, because all of us got the same goddamn message that Aziz got. We just didn't know how to fucking say it. Excuse my English.
Yeah, and I was too.
And when he said Kamaya has something to say, I said she's not going to say it. I said to myself, Kamaya's not going to say what she has to say. I said, and I don't know why. I said, but something in her is not letting her say it. And then Aziz was like, pew. And I immediately felt you tethered towards it. And I'm like, why didn't she just say it?
I felt like a whole weight was like.
Yeah, I felt you tethered
when
towards
Aziz
it.
said, I said, oh, finally.
I'm getting the sense that one of the things they really value in you is your temper, and that you have to let that temper out.
A fire.
You have to let it be part of you and come out and just show. Like you're a fighter
I
person.
haven't made it that far in my personal journey yet, y'all. So
Okay.
But you know,
still
Okay.
gotta keep it cute.
we have rebellious spirits for a reason. Without rebellious spirits, we don't get things done. Without rebellious spirits, we will not have change. If everyone complies and is following, like I have to speak a certain way because they're telling me very specific things to trigger certain moments, right? Everyone has their own delivery. And Kamaya, you have a rebellious spirit to stir the pot. Otherwise, the gumbo just gonna get burnt.
Yeah, and sometimes the pot really needs to be stirred.
Join me on the dark
you're
side.
You're not valuing what you actually can do enough.
I
Have faith in yourself, girl.
Well,
So we're a psyops.
we're a psyop.
Oh, I believe it
100%
hardcore.
think we're a
Yeah.
psyop.
Mhm.
Like, I think the entire New Age movement and anybody who talks about the Galactic Federation, anybody who talks about any pretty ETs coming to save us, any narrative like that is a psyop, and it's being done probably by one of our American intelligence agencies. Like, and one of the American intelligence agencies that has a back end that's connected to space. Like CIA, NSA, one of those guys. I don't know. But one of those, I know that those secret upper echelons of those intelligence agencies are connected to the secret space program in other ways. Maybe it's just military. I know there's military intelligence, like naval intelligence and Air Force intelligence, that they're connected to space programs. But I think that the whole New Age experience, I think the whole it's just what I just said before, Galactic Federation, anything that speaks about positive ETs coming to help humanity, that is entirely a psyop to make it so that when direct military action happens on the planet Earth, the people of planet Earth look at it as a positive thing. And they see the shift of power, even if it gets us away from a representative democracy that we have right now with America. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't know what our government's going to look like 50 years out from now. But if something drastic happens, the population will need to be pacified, and the population being pacified in a less brutal way would require cooperation, and that cooperation would require planting the seeds of a psyop, and that would necessitate this type of experience. And that's just survival mechanics, and that makes sense in nature. Good and bad does not make sense in nature.
So it's good for people to recognize that all the psyops are not on the same side. They're all So the entire New Age can be a psyop, but we can be doing something that's a psyop, but we can be on different sides. But everybody's doing their own psyop that's connected somehow to a power struggle.
Yes.
Yeah. I think anything like that is a psyop. And I think also there's a big part of at least our side of the psyop, which is that the human race needs psychic abilities if it's going to be able to survive.
Yeah.
Period. And so that's like the number one mission statement and tenet of psyop. I mean, of Farsight is that we want the population of planet Earth to acknowledge remote viewing, realize this is real, realize that they all have abilities like this, and make that mainstream. The best thing that can happen is that remote viewing becomes so common that we all lose our jobs. That is the mission accomplished mission statement. The best thing that can happen for our company is that we have no work because all of you guys are doing this and we're just not interesting anymore. So that I'm hoping for that. That's like, fingers crossed, we will live in a perfect society if it's a telepathic society, truthfully telepathic society.
I hope I get to retire in that society and do surfing on the beach for decades. All right, everybody. Can I wrap up with what? They're very happy with how the meeting went. So the burst, you had outburst, and they're actually hoping for many more outbursts from you, Kamaya. They're sort of like they're hoping to depend on you to be an exploder. Boom, boom, boom. Somebody. So we'll see. All right, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and thank you, friends, for joining us and for leading the conversation. They're happy. Okay, take care, everybody. We'll see you all next month. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, they'll be right. They're saying they'll be regular. They're not going to stop these. These are important. Okay, everybody. Thanks.
Thanks.